Hello guys, my name is Engineer Ali. They want to talk about odd and even functions, and I want you to listen as you listen. God bless you. Now, when we talk about odd function or even functions or a function, let me put it this way. A function is said to be evil, is said to be evil if f of minus x is equal to what? F of x. For what? For all what? X an element of R in its domain. Now, this is the most important thing you need to underline. F of minus x equal to f of x. What do we mean by f of minus x equal to f of x? It means that when you are given a function, what you use to test run the function, to test whether the function is what? Even or not, is this function particularly. So it said a function is said to be what? Evil if f of minus x is equal to what? F of x. For all Lx, an element of R in its what? Domain. Now, what do we mean by that? Let's take an example now. And don't forget that let's say f of x is given as x squared, for example. F of x equal to what? X. Now, let us test with what? F of minus x to check whether this function is evil or not. Evil function or not. Now, what I want to do is that I want to say minus x all square. So what do we have? That minus x times minus x will give us x squared, because minus times minus plus. Now, what we are having now, f of minus x is going back to the original function, is f of x. Therefore, what do we say? It is an what? Even what? Function. So that's what we conclude for this function now. And if we check particularly even function, they are symmetric about or around y-axis. If you plot the graph of this, or let's say you plot the graph of x squared, this is what we are going to be having. Something like this. Do a rough sketch. This is what we are going to have. If you plot a graph of y squared, y equal to what? X squared, or f of x equal to x squared. Now, what does that mean? When we say a function, that means I said what? That an even function is symmetric about the y-axis. Y-axis. What I mean is that anything you see on that means this is the y-axis. That means the y divide the this right hand side from the left hand side equally. That's what I mean by that. So whatever you are seeing on the right hand side is also the same what you are seeing on the left hand side. That's what we mean by symmetric. So that is just that. That's one thing about an even function that you must also take note of. Let's take other examples. Like for example, f of x is equals to 2x squared plus what? 2x4 plus what? 3x squared plus 4, for instance. Now, how do we do this one now? All we're going to do is what? Take what? F of minus x and put it inside the function given to us. Now, when we do that, when we test on it, we have what? 2 into bracket. Now, don't forget that what we have there is 2x raised to power 4. So, how do we minus x raised to power 4, then plus 3 minus x all square plus 4. Now, when you do that, what I want to have now is minus x raised to power 4 is what? See, x raised to power 4 plus x is minus x raised to power 2 is same as what? 3x, 3 divided by minus x all square is same as what? 3 square plus 4. So therefore, since this one is giving us what we were given originally. So that means that f of minus x is equal to f of x. So that one is clear now. Now let us see other examples. Now, if I have what f of x given to me as what cos x, for instance. Now cos x is an even function. Now let's check. Let's not conclude. F of minus x equal to what? Cos what? Minus x. Now when you check, now provided this number is not there, this what I would have that is f of minus x should be what? This one will what becomes what? Cos x. Now you remember now that this one is now giving us a function back. That means f of minus x is equal to what? Equals to cos x, which is equal to f of x. Therefore, cos x is an even function. Now, let me give you one shortcut, because sometimes we can say sin s is an odd function, but sometimes we can have a case of, okay, for example, we have, let us have a case of this. Let's we have given your f of minus f of x equal to x sin x, for instance. If we are giving that to check whether it's even or odd function, what we are going to do now, class, is to what? Is to test f of minus x is equals to what? Plus, I'm going to have it as what? Minus x sine minus x. Now this one will produce minus xt, then sine of minus x equals what? Times minus sine x. Minus times minus will give us plus, so I will have what? X times x. So therefore, this one is giving us back the original function. Therefore, f of minus x is equal to what? F of x. So this is what? And what? Even function. Clear? So now we can now notice now, normally, originally, this is odd, this is odd. We are going to see that in our next class, in this same class rather. We'll talk about odd function. Now, I notice that whenever you have what? Odd function multiplied by odd functions, it gives you even function. Even function. That's what we notice, because this odd, they end up giving us an even function. Take note of this one. Then let's look at other ones like odd function before we now conclude everything. Let's look at odd function. Let's look at odd function. Now, in looking at odd function now, we said what? A function is what? Said to be what? To be odd if f of what? Minus x is equal to minus f of x. Is taken of that? If f of minus x is equal to f of x for x, what? For x, for all real numbers, for x an element of all real number in its domain. Now, let's take an example. Let's say f of x is equal to sq. Now, don't forget, sq is symmetrical about the origin. If you plot a graph of sq, y equal to sq, something like, you will see something like this. This kind of graph that we want to have. It means that odd functions are always symmetrical about the origin, but even function is what? Symmetrical about the y-axis. Now, let us check this out. Let us see how we can to test this function. What one would have now is f of minus x equal to minus x all cube. What we are going to have, if you bring this one down, is minus s times minus x times minus x, which will give us what? Minus times minus plus times minus minus s cube. Now, f of minus x, don't forget s cube originally is what this. So let us replace this one with f of what? So you have minus x equal to minus f of x. So it's said to be what? To be odd function. Now let's take another example. Let's say we take f of minus x, okay, f of x equal to what? Let's say tan x. Tan x. Now what I want to do now is f of x is, which is tan x, is the same thing as what? Sine x over cos x. Now if you now what? Test by what? Using f of minus x. So what I would have now is what? Sine minus x divided by cos minus x. So what do we have? Now what I want to have now is that this one will produce minus, and we have what? Minus sine x divided by what? This one will give us what? Cos x. And at the end of the day, I would have what? Minus tan x. So minus tan x now, originally we have what? Tan x. So therefore, I want to have it as what? Minus f of x. So if what? F of minus x equal to what? Minus f of x. What does that indicate? It means that tan is what? An odd function. Tan is an odd what? Function. And they are always, because they are graph, they are always symmetrical around the origin, or about the origin rather. Now you can checkmate all these. All these are also what? Odd function. Cosec x, cot x, and etc. So they are odd function. You can check them out. But now let us now come with a kind of shortcut. Now, if you have a table like this, for example, let me give you a table that will help us to know a function easily. Now, this table now, let's say we have odd, and this is even. We have odd and odd function. This is what? A function. This is also a function. Then let's say we have even, and we also have even. Now we have even. Then let's say we have even and what? And odd. Now anytime you have a table like this, what will be the result or the final result? What will be the result of this kind of what? Table? If you have a what? A function that is odd, then the second function is also what? Even. Now what will be our result of this kind of what? Odd and even function when they multiply each other, product? Now what we want to have that this odd multiply even will give us what? Odd. Let's take on that. Odd multiply even will give us odd. Then odd function multiply odd will give us even function. Let's take on that. Then even multiply even function will give us even. Then odd multiply even multiply odd will give us what? Odd. Just like, or take odd as minus. Minus multiply minus is plus. Take even as plus. The plus times minus is what? Minus. Plus times plus is plus. The minus times plus is what? Minus. Take odd as negative and even as what? As plus. You will notice that it will play around everything we are saying. For example, let me give you an example before I will test us with a question. Now, for example, if you are given f of x equal to sine square x cos x, for example, and want to test whether it's what. Normally, this one is what? Is a question that have to do with what? Odd square. That means sine x, cos x. That's what it means. So in that case, f of x will now be equal to what? This one is what? What sine? We test with what? F of minus x. So put minus x, sine minus x, cos what? Minus x. Now, minus sine minus x will give me what? Minus. We come out with as sine minus sine x. This one also will come out as minus sine x. Then this one will come what? We produce cos x. Now, minus and minus is plus. Then sine times sine is what? Sine square x. Then this one will have cos x. So what do we call this kind of function? Is it odd or even? Because it's giving us back our result of what? The function originally given to us. So minus f of x is equal to f of x. So that means this one is what? An even function, not an odd function. Now, you can try this. If you check, I say cosec x is odd, cot x is odd, tan x is odd. But sec x is not what? Is not odd, rather it is even. You can check, try it. Check sec x, don't forget it's simply as 1 over sine x. So I believe that this shortcut table can help us. This shortcut table, this product, this function multiplied by another function, then this is the result of what you are going to have. So you can use this table to do a lot. There are other functions that will not give us odd or neither. They are called neither even nor odd function. That means they did not satisfy the condition of an even function. Neither did they satisfy the condition of an odd function. The example is what? Ln. You can clean this part. If I give you ln x, or let me start with a simple example. Let me say f of x equal to what? S squared plus x. This is an example of what? Neither even nor odd. If you check, now I can still tell you that this is look at it, this even function, this odd function. Anytime your power is raised to power even number, it is even function. But look at, let's test one. F of minus x is equal to minus x all square minus x. Then this will give us x square minus x. The result we are having does not satisfy any of the condition now. So we say this function, this answer is what? This function is neither even nor odd. So now, what do we call such a function? It is what? Neither even nor odd. It is not both even and odd. So we should understand that language. So it is neither even nor odd. Let us take an example again. Let's say we have f of x equal to ln x. This is an example of neither even nor odd. We have example of what? F of x equal to what? Exponential raised by x. We can have it as 2 raised by x also. All these ones are neither even nor odd. Now, anytime you add a constant to an odd function, for example, x cubed plus 2, this is a neither even nor odd function. But whenever you add a constant, that means 2, 5, 7 minus 8 added to an odd function, to an odd function like this, we always end up giving you neither even nor odd. But whenever you add a constant to what? Even function, it retains its even. For example, x squared plus 2. This one will still remain even function. The test, can do the test. It will remain even function. Then if I give you something like this, also f of x divided by x is by 3 plus x is by x, ordinary x like this, or probably I give you x over 5, x is by 3 plus x. Because a constant is not added to it and all the powers of the variable is odd. Therefore, this is a what? an odd function. But if I give you something like this now, maybe f of x equal to x squared plus 3. This one will give me what? An even function, irrespective of this fact that what 3 is, this 3 is a constant. Now, another thing again is that if I now give you something like this, x power 4, let me change it, the x squared plus 3, this one will still be an odd and even function. Why? Because all the powers are even, and even when constant is added to an even function, it does not change the narrative of that function being what? Even, because it will still satisfy the what? The even function, which is what? F of minus x must be equal to f of x. So I will ask you a question now, and you have to answer me in the comment section. I will ask you a question now. Which of these following, you have to type your answer center. Which of the following is, is an even function? Which of the following is an even what? Function. Which of the following is an even what? Function? A, cosec x. B, tan x. C, cot x. D, s cube sine what? X. And E, let's say what? X sine square x. Which of the following is what? An even what? Function. Which of the following is an even function? Option A, cosec x. B, tan x. C, cot x. D, s cube sine x. D, E, x sine square x. I want to see your answer sent to us in the comment section. Please, if you know you enjoyed the class, please subscribe to this channel to get more information from us, to learn more. We always believe that by His grace, we always bring new things to this channel. Thank you. God bless you.